Now to some business news. The Nigerian Consumer Price Index, which measures the inflation rate, fell to 17.01% in August, and that's according to the National Bureau of Statistics. According to the latest CPI report, this rate is 0.37% points lower than the 17.38% that was recorded in July of 2021. This is the fifth consecutive month that Nigeria's inflation rate will be trending downward since March of this year. Inflation dropped from 18.17% in March to 18.12% in April, before dropping further to 17.93%, now 17.775%, 17.38% in the months in May, June, July, respectively. The NBS said that on a month-to-month basis, the headline index increased by 1.02% in August of 2021, adding that this is 0.09% rate higher than the 0.93% recorded in July of 2021. And for more on this, we've been joined by Arise business analyst, BOASON OMOFAYE. I want to say thank you and welcome to Newsday.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome. That's
Great.
A lot of numbers we just read out there.
Yes.
A whole lot.
A whole lot.
So talk to us about the consumer index.
Well, the whole idea is you've had the numbers already, but the key point here is that the year-on-year inflation looks like a deceleration, what you call a disinflation over the last couple of months. But if you look at the month-on-month, which tracks things a little bit more closely in terms of how much did you earn last month and how much are you earning this month, which is a little bit more practical in the manner of looking at. The inflation is going higher. Food inflation is about 1.06% higher. Headline inflation is about 1.02% higher. Core inflation is about 0.5% lower. But if you look at the headline and the food inflation is always the number one to talk about, because it's all about how do we feed the 200 million people, how much do we pay for food products that we get. Our level of imports is still high to some very great extent. But when you look at food, there's still heavy rainfalls and lingering disruption to supplies within the economy. So when you talk about supply, you talk about the level of insecurity, you look at infrastructure issues, you look at logistics as part of the issues that affect food inflation in Nigeria. Then there's a general high prices of food products, globally speaking. According to the August report on world food prices by the Food and Agricultural Organization, there's a very major. The price index averaged about 127.4 in the month of August. That's about 3.1% higher, globally speaking, in the month of July. So even globally speaking, food prices are up 3.1% between July and August. So Nigeria cannot really be an exception. We still have a whole lot of issues to deal with in terms of supply of materials, globally speaking. So when you talk about food, some of these you need the raw materials to process them. And then where do you get the raw materials from, or part of the processed material, whatever you need for it? It all comes down to the logistics and supply issues from either it is China or whatever. So the effects of COVID-19 is not completely out. But according to the latest report, sugar, wheat, and palm oil is facing the most pressure in terms of prices, globally speaking. Are we still importing? Yes, we're importing. Do we have enough local production? No, we don't. Again, because on one hand, we have to deal with climate issues. Sometimes it's heavy rainfall. Sometimes we have a bit of a problem with inadequate rainfall. Then you have issues as well with the fact that we can't as well go to the farmers we would want to. We've heard from the Central Bank and NASA, which is the agency responsible for disbursing the Anchor Borrowers Program, in terms of farmers that are owing, some deliberately, some not because due to their own fault, because the headers and the bandits and kidnappers won't allow them get to their rice farm and other farms. So you have all those. Then you have the extant problem of we harvest so much, but we don't have the logistics and the processing to get it all the way down to the stores and whatever. And basically here in Nigeria, most of our food consumption are in raw form, kind of. We don't eat much of processed food. Like you go to the store, everything, your tomato, your vegetable, everything is in can. So we tend to consume from farm to mouth in a manner of speaking. So if you look at Lagos, for example, you look at the My 12 market, the My 2 market, because of what majority of Nigerians, people at the bottom of the pyramid, buy are food that are banana, yam, cocoyam, whatever. So if you look at the food basket, basically, they are food that are harvested from the farm and needs to be consumed within 1 day, 2 days, a week or so. But if you have problem, for example, if you have watermelon harvested in Zamfara State or elsewhere, you need to move it in trucks all the way down to Lagos, for example. You look at the whole problems on the way with the police, everyone stopping you for some illegal transaction or fares or whatever, collections, then you, even for tomato, you have to put it on trucks that gets spoiled on the road, and by the time you get to Lagos, half of the entire truck is gone because of our very hot and humid weather, by the way. So those are losses, post-harvest losses to both farmers and those who are involved in merchandising and trade. So we still haven't been able to factor the value chain within our agricultural space, in which if tomato is made in Kano, how do we get it to stores in Kano right away? Can we get it to Lagos within 24 hours using cargo planes that are frozen, that can preserve it within, and within hours you can have it in a store in Lagos, for example, and we cut a whole lot of nuances away from the middle. So we have a whole lot of work to do within our space, and if we do some of these investments, we can actually reduce our food inflation.
But inflation rates
prices
are down.
Well, basically speaking, the devil is always in the details. If you consider the fact that year on year, the headline inflation is down, that's what they call the base effect. That the base effect is that, okay, yeah, we're down from 17, so whatever, to 1701. So it looks like a very sexy number. But then the reality on the ground is that Nigerians can feel that food prices or inflation is down. People are still paying more. And again, you feel it more in an environment in which your disposable income is getting thinner and your exchange rate is under the truck, is battered. As if you're talking about close to 600, about 557 naira to the dollar, close to 600. The pound sterling is about 700, 750. Oh, sorry, don't mention any black market rate here. It's illegal. So the only thing that is legal is the official rate. So even if you go to the exporter's window and you look at about 412 naira to the dollar, that's not good news at all. Since year to date, we've done about between 3 and 4% negative in terms of the naira dollar. Over the last 1 year, we've done about 30% decline in terms of the value of the naira. So when you put all of that together, you're having a perfect cocktail for the kind of environment in which the headline inflation figure look a little bit like, yeah, there's a deceleration or disinflation, but in actual fact, the truth is we have a very serious inflationary environment. It doesn't make it, because when prices of goods and services are trending upward and your disposable income is also weak, and what you already have is weaker due to exchange rates.
I want to say many thanks to you, BOASON, OMOFAYE, for breaking down the numbers for us today in terms of inflation.